Greetings, fearless explorers of the shadows and tireless seekers of hidden truths. Welcome to this mysterious space, where the light of reason can barely penetrate, and the darkness holds secrets that challenge human understanding. You are now at the portal of the unknown, a place where the past intertwines with the future, and the veil separating the known and the unknown is delicately torn. Here, at this point of convergence between what we know and what is yet to be discovered, the deepest mysteries await to be unraveled, revealing truths that have been hidden for millennia. Every corner of this domain holds information that, if uncovered, could forever change the way we see the world and the universe around us. In this sanctuary of curiosity and exploration, it is not only the deepest questions that are asked, but the answers begin to reveal themselves. And these answers, my friends, are neither simple nor conventional. They challenge the conventions of science, history, and even the very reality in which we live. As we move forward on this journey, we will immerse ourselves in myths, legends, and forgotten texts, seeking to understand what has been veiled from the common people and why certain knowledge has been deliberately hidden from humanity. So, prepare yourself for an experience that goes beyond the obvious, taking us into territories where conventional thinking and established knowledge are put to the test. You are about to cross a fine line between the familiar and the unknown, and with each step, you will draw closer to a greater, more complex truth that is, without a doubt, more unsettling. Now, more than ever, the prophecies that hover over us seem to be coming true, echoing through the endless cycles of time, like a haunting melody that resonates through the generations. Like an ancient clock whose gears never stop turning, these old predictions made long before our time continue to affect our present in mysterious and profound ways. They are more than just words or symbols. They are guides for what is to come, clues that illuminate the path of humanity, even if not everyone knows or understands their implications. And so, we stand on the brink of something grand. The answers to questions that have hovered in the minds of humanity for millennia are beginning to take shape. It is these ancient secrets that, once revealed, have the power to transform the way we perceive existence, our own history, and even the limits of what we consider possible. If you have the courage to walk this path, to challenge the shadows, and to confront the truths that have been buried for so long, then join us. Here, at the portal of the unknown, you will find more than mere enigmas. You will find the keys to what lies beyond the veil, the answers that only the boldest dare to seek, and the prophecies that continue to echo through the generations. Today, we delve into the enigmatic figure of Lamech, the father of Noah, a man whose name is shrouded in deep mysteries and whose words echo like a key that could unlock the gates of understanding about both past and future times. Lamech is not merely a distant ancestor in the human lineage, but a character whose actions and prophecies carry significant weight within the biblical narrative. He stands at the center of a story that compels us to reflect on the cycles of humanity, divine judgment, and the hope for renewal. The story of Lamech is a fine line between the end of one era and the beginning of something completely new. And as we explore his life, we find a message that transcends generations and resonates to this very day. But who was Lamech really? And how do his words about his son Noah point to something far beyond just an event of his time? Lamech is a figure who appears briefly in Genesis, but his brief mention carries a load of hidden meanings. He is not only connected to one of the Bible's greatest events, the flood, but he also represents a crucial link in the transition from human decay to the possibility of a new creation. As the father of Noah, he plays a central role in our understanding of what is to come. But what do his words really tell us about the future? What can we learn from his vision of the end and restoration, and how do they apply to our world today? Looking at what he said, we can begin to understand that Lamech wasn't just speaking about his own time, but about a prophetic future that stretches to generations yet to come. In Genesis chapter 5, verse 29, we read Lamech's words about his son Noah. This one will comfort us concerning our work and the toil of our hands because of the ground which the Lord has cursed. These words are laden with deep symbolism. They are not merely the wish of a father for his son, but a clue about a future marked by destruction, but also by renewal. Lamech, looking at Noah, sees a sign of hope amidst chaos, a relief in the midst of the curse upon the earth. However, this relief is not a promise of an easy life, but a foreshadowing that human suffering has a purpose and that, through Noah, something new will emerge. In a sense, Lamech is speaking about restoration, not just physical, but spiritual, as something that will lead humanity to a new beginning, a beginning that, while full of challenges, would bring with it an opportunity for redemption. These words of Lamech spoken before the flood become even more significant when we look at the overall context of the biblical story. They speak not only of alleviating immediate suffering, but also point to a broader vision of renewal and restoration that extends beyond Noah's story. The flood is not mere punishment, but a process of purification, an opportunity for humanity to start again. Through the figure of Noah, humanity has the chance to renew itself, to rid the earth of the corruption that had tainted it, and to begin anew under divine guidance. And as we reflect on this message, we are invited to consider how, in our own lives, moments of destruction and difficulty can also be periods of renewal and transformation. Just as Lamech saw in Noah the promise of a different future, we too are called to look at difficult situations as opportunities for a new beginning, for a future filled with hope and restoration. Lamech lived in a dark and chaotic time where corruption spread rapidly, contaminating every aspect of society. Humanity was immersed in violence, immorality, and decay, and evil seemed to have no limits. It was a period when the Nephilim, hybrid beings, sons of fallen angels and human women, walked among men, leaving a trail of destruction and corruption wherever they went. Their presence on earth not only altered the natural course of humanity, but also brought an intensification of sin, distorting God's divine purpose for creation. The earth at that moment was saturated with violence and depravity, with people turning away from virtue and justice, and in such a desolate scenario, divine judgment seemed inevitable. Lamech's foreboding sense of the future was, therefore, not unfounded. He knew humanity was on the brink of facing the fury of divine judgment, a purification that would be both physical and spiritual. It was a time when sin had deeply infiltrated, and humanity's suffering caused by corruption and injustice cried out for divine intervention. The flood, as we know, would be the means chosen by God to punish the earth's wickedness and restore order. Yet in the midst of this sentence of destruction, there was a spark of hope. And this hope was represented by Noah, Lamech's son, whose name prophetically meant rest or comfort. Noah, with his life and mission, represented the possibility of relief for a world burdened by the curse of sin. Noah's name was not just a symbolic choice, but a promise that through him there would be rest for humanity. He would be God's instrument to save the righteous and usher in a new creation. Noah's figure becomes central, and not only in the story of his own lineage, but in the restoration of divine order on earth. Through him, hope would be reborn, and the cycle of destruction would be followed by an opportunity for a new beginning. Humanity, though marked by its fall, would still have a chance to rise again, to learn from the mistakes of the past, and ultimately to find rest after the turmoil. The contrast between the corruption of Lamech's time and the promise of Noah is profound. While the earth was sinking in sin and violence, Noah emerged as a symbol of faith and obedience. He was unknowingly the line of defense between judgment and divine mercy, a figure representing both God's justice and his compassion. Noah's name, Rest, not only reflected the hope for a less turbulent future, but also indicated the promise of relief from the pain and suffering of humanity. Though Noah's path would be marked by challenges and hardships, he was destined to be a beacon of light in a sea of darkness, showing humanity that, even in the darkest hours, there is still room for renewal and divine grace. Through him, God offered the world a chance for redemption, to rebuild what had been broken, and to ultimately find the rest that was promised. As we study biblical genealogy and explore the apocryphal writings, such as the Book of Enoch, we begin to perceive that the figure of Lamech is far more complex than it might initially appear. In many traditions and interpretations, there are echoes suggesting that Lamech, the father of Noah, may not have simply had an ordinary view of the world, but may have been blessed with divine revelations that warned him of the catastrophic events to come. As we reflect on this possibility, the question arises, Did Lamech truly understand that the world as he knew it was condemned to destruction? And if he knew this, what would it mean for his perception of Noah and his role in the story of humanity? The answer to these questions may lie hidden in ancient texts like the Book of Enoch, one of the most significant and mysterious apocryphal books, which offers a fascinating view of the fallen angels, the Nephilim, and the fate of humanity. The Book of Enoch, while not part of the traditional biblical canon, is highly valued in some religious traditions and is filled with prophetic revelations and heavenly visions concerning divine judgment and the purification of the world. Many scholars believe that Lamech, as a key figure in Noah's lineage, could have had access to this knowledge, or at least been aware of the visions passed down from ancient times. The revelations contained in this book provide a deep understanding of how the events leading to the flood were intertwined with the sins of mankind and the misdeeds of angels. And it is possible that Lamech, as a man of his time, was aware of these things. One particularly intriguing passage in the Book of Enoch directly mentions Lamech, who, according to tradition, became concerned with the divine and extraordinary nature of his son Noah. It is said that Lamech believed Noah was no ordinary man, but rather someone chosen by God to fulfill a vital role in the salvation of humanity and creation itself. This is reinforced by some of the revelations found in the book, which suggest that Noah possessed an almost celestial nature, a mark of purity amid the corruption of the earth. The fact that Lamech said his son would provide relief from humanity's suffering can be interpreted not only as a father's wish, but as a deeper understanding of the world's future. He knew that the world was on the brink of collapse, and in some way his son would be a key to restoration. Lamech's understanding of the world's fate, therefore, may have been closely linked to the revelation that divine judgment was about to occur, and that the flood would be God's answer to the widespread corruption and sin. The Book of Enoch offers a fascinating perspective on the depth of this corruption, including the transgressions of the fallen angels and the growing immorality among men, all of which would provoke divine wrath. Lamech, with his prophetic vision, would have recognized not only the fate of his generation, but also Noah's essential role as the hero destined to rebuild what would be destroyed. In some way, he understood that his son was not merely a regular human being, but a divine instrument chosen to save humanity from the abyss of destruction and oblivion. These echoes of ancient knowledge and prophetic revelations are one of the reasons why Lamech, when pronouncing the words about Noah, was not just speaking about a personal or familial future, but a greater destiny involving all of creation. What we can learn from this is that often the understanding of the end and restoration is not limited to the present moment, but is passed down from generation to generation, often through visions and revelations that interweave with the stories of humanity. By exploring these apocryphal texts and sacred visions, we see that the story of Lamech and Noah is in fact part of a divine cycle that goes beyond the flood, prompting us to reflect on how ancient knowledge and sacred revelations continue to guide us today. Genesis chapter 6, verse 5, powerfully reinforces this apocalyptic vision of the state of humanity before the flood, when God looked upon the earth and saw that the wickedness of man had multiplied alarmingly. The Lord saw that the wickedness of man had increased on the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil all the time. These words reveal a devastating picture where humanity not only drifted away from God, but where the human heart had become fertile ground for evil. Sin and corruption spread unchecked, affecting both individuals and society as a whole. Human hearts were immersed in sin, and violence and injustice ruled the earth. The world, as it was said at the time, was on the brink of chaos, and there seemed to be no room for hope of change, at least not in the eyes of most. This was the scene leading up to the flood, a time when humanity's degeneration seemed irreversible. Sin had reached such extreme proportions that in God's eyes it was impossible to restore order without a radical purification. The corruption of humankind was total, with their hearts entirely inclined towards evil. But amidst this impending destruction, there emerged a central figure who calls us to reflect on the possibility of a new beginning, Lamech. He, as a witness to his generation, saw the decay around him but also seemed to perceive something deeper, the potential for rebirth. Lamech didn't only see the world in its total decay, but paradoxically, he saw in his son Noah the promise of a new future. Noah was not just a reflection of the past, but a sign that even in times of extreme corruption, God was still willing to offer a chance for redemption. Thus, Lamech becomes a crucial point of transition in the narrative. He was someone who, despite living in a period of moral and spiritual degradation, did not lose sight of restoration. His story serves as a powerful reminder that, even amidst chaos and disorder, there is always a path to redemption. He, as Noah's father, had the prophetic vision that through his son, humanity would have an opportunity to begin anew. Noah and his ark, with their obedient construction according to God's command, were the key to escaping the impending destruction and through their salvation, initiating a new era. The ark represented more than just a means of survival. It symbolized God's mercy amidst judgment, a safe refuge where the righteous could be preserved, and through them, creation could continue. Today, this story of Lamech and Noah continues to be relevant, as it echoes in the heart of humanity, reminding us that no matter how dark the circumstances, there is always the promise of a new beginning. Noah's Ark, which was the path to salvation at that time, now reflects the promise of a new heaven and a new earth as revealed in the scriptures. The concept of redemption and restoration is a recurring theme, assuring us that no matter how dominant sin and corruption may be, there is always an opportunity to begin again. Just as Lamech saw in Noah the hope of a restored future, we too are called to look to God's promises with faith and trust, knowing that redemption is not only reserved for the past, but also for the present and the future. As in Noah's story, God still offers us the opportunity to enter the ark, to be saved from destruction, and to take part in the restoration of all that was lost. The fate of Lamech remains shrouded in mystery. The Bible does not provide clear details about whether he lived long enough to witness the flood that would devastate the earth. We know that Lamech lived to the age of 777, a number rich with symbolic meaning, but the biblical narrative does not tell us if he saw with his own eyes the destruction God had promised, or if he passed away before that judgment was fulfilled. This leaves a gap of uncertainty about the end of his journey. However, his role as the father of Noah, the man chosen to preserve humanity and creation, stands out as an indelible part of sacred history. Lamech, by bringing Noah into the world, marked the beginning of a divine lineage that would become crucial for the restoration of balance between humanity and the divine. Despite his life being marked by impending tragedy and the degeneration of his time, Lamech may have been the catalyst for humanity's salvation. His name is linked to Noah's birth, and Noah's name, meaning rest, symbolized hope for relief amidst the chaos. But the enigma of Lamech goes beyond what he represented as a father. The fact that he was the only man of his generation to take such a significant step toward restoration leads us to reflect on the mystery of his own destiny. Was he somehow aware of his son's prophetic role? Or, like many others, did he live his life amidst the blindness of his era, unaware of the fate that was about to unfold? This enigmatic aspect of Lamech, a man who, even in a time of extreme corruption, brought forth someone destined to restore order, adds a layer of depth to the biblical narrative. His life leaves us with a lingering question: how aware are the generations of men and women of the role they play in the grand divine tapestry? Lamech's story is not just about Noah's lineage, but about the cycles of humanity, the moments of transition that mark both destruction and renewal. The very fact that we do not know whether Lamech lived to see the flood makes us realize that often divine mysteries are not fully revealed to us, and that part of the human journey is to walk by faith without having all the answers. If you wish to continue exploring the hidden mysteries within the forgotten pages of time and deepen your understanding of the enigmas and revelations that permeate sacred history, subscribe to the Portal of the Unknown. Here, the truth lies in wait, awaiting those who dare to seek it. The answers to humanity's greatest questions are within our reach, and together we can unravel the secrets that challenge human comprehension. The journey is just beginning, and the next chapter awaits us.